an empty stadium, going through, talking, standing at the 50-yard line in the middle of that man, I got chills. I was like, yeah, this is home. It's the only game my dad was able to come to. Get to where like he's coming down at the stands and he's like, just walking like he's like in Walmart or something. And I'm like, man, bro, what's happening, man? And I'm like, okay, we're the same size, we're the same speed. I got to find something else. I got to tap into my crazy.
For the win. Blocked by Oregon.
Yeah, you in your 40s. I'm not there yet. I'm a couple years.
Yeah, man. Yes, indeed. I was laughing with Jairus because, he turns 42 in August, and I got a couple months on him. So I was like, man, a young ass boy.
Yeah, I've talked to Jay here and there, but man, we used to have too much fun back in the day.
Man, that's what I tell you, man. I feel like I know you from him. It is like, from going back, how's everything going? Him going through like, his little injuries and the rest of that stuff. Like, but I've known him since I was like in the 6th grade, bro. So I've known him for a long time.
That's great.
And the way he talked about you, I was like, yeah, I know him too. So yeah.
That's what's up. Welcome back to another Shift Change podcast. Today, I got an awesome guest, linebacker for the Oregon Ducks. He used to play at Gulf Coast, played in the NFL. Yeah. Blair Phillips. He's a beast. He played inside linebacker, number 33. He used to have the big old neck trap, the guard. Blair, welcome to the channel, man. I appreciate everything. How's things going?
Man, they're good. They're doing really well, man. So like my kids, they'll see like those pictures and they were like, "You had a neck roll?" I was like, I shouldn't have done it, but that was like the only year that I wore one, and it was, man. That is the bane of my existence. Please don't Google it. Please don't look it up. But it is like my swag was terrible, bro. Like that was horrible.
But we thought it was good in the time. Like
for sure.
I made terrible decisions myself. Like we've talked about, I had the tinted visor, I had the sleeves, I did the like Reggie Bush and Tim Tebow, the eye black with the writing on it. Like I tried it all.
But it was, around that time, it was like, if you were like 160, you wanted to wear pads that made you look like you were like 240.
Absolutely.
Like, now everybody's like, they want to get naked and, they ain't wearing much of anything. But it was like, you had to put bigger stuff on. And, me being like 230, 240, like I'm looking like a D lineman with a neck roll. I'm like, bro, what am I doing? So
looking like a monster out there. Yeah, it was a transition for me when I went to arena ball, because in arena ball, basically guys just wore shells. They didn't even wear nothing in their pants, nothing, maybe just like the plastic inside their thigh pads. And I was like, oh, this is so freeing. Like I should have been doing this the whole time.
So the crazy thing was being in Dallas, man, and we had a practice and we're in shells, but it wasn't like shells. It was like almost like those spider pads that you put underneath your shoulder pads.
Rubber.
Yeah, and we practiced in that.
Yep.
Like you had your team, your number, your jersey number on it, and then you put on like whatever. But it was like I was like, man, that is crazy. But like just learning how to practice and learning how to do stuff. But yeah, it is like we it was like spider pads. I'm like, man, but they were going full out, and I'm like, but we got on spider pads. What are y'all doing? And it was, bro. It was a different type. It was, man.
Yep. So I was in Alaska my first year, and I played both ways. So in practice one day, coach was like, hey, we're just gonna let you run some linebacker rips. I'm like, all right. So we had a Samoan fullback, and he met me in the hole one time, and dude, he rocked my world. I've never been hit so hard, but I loved all my Samoan teammates, but that dude hit so hard, and I was
Usos.
like, oh, he was an awesome Oos.
Yeah, the Usos, bro. Yeah, shout out to them because so I was when I got to Oregon, like I'd never been around like Samoans and Tongans and the rest of that, and it was it was like a culture shock. So I remember in my house, like I stand up and I look down at everybody, like my dad's 5'8", my mom's 5'2", and I get in the huddle calling the play, and I'm looking up like at talking up to people, and I was like, oh, this is different. Yes. This is way different. Like these guys are built way different, bro.
Yeah, I had so obviously, in arena, we got 3 linemen. So my left tackle, well, his name was Tui. Tui played for the Giants and the Jets a little bit. But he first day of practice, he's like 6'6", like 360. And he goes, you Drew? I said, I am. He goes, You ain't got nothing to worry about. I was like, hell
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And he meant it.
He did
Every
mean
single
it.
word of it, bro.
Yeah.
It's funny because I had a teammate, AJ, and it's like, AJ, like it's just a normal name, but his name was like Lavia to or so, like it was like some long name, and it's like, I guess we'll just shorten it to AJ. But it's like you talking about Tui. It was something like at least 4 syllables for
Oh
sure.
yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. So obviously, tell the people that are listening and watching just a little bit about yourself, where you came from, how you ended up at Gulf Coast and ultimately Oregon, and then, we'll get into the details.
Bad decisions, man. First thing off, bad decisions. Just that was the thing. Now, so I'm from Oakland, California. Traveled around. Pops was in the Navy, so we moved like a bunch of different places. By the time I was like of sports playing age, we were in Mississippi. So a lot of my sports history is in the South. Growing up, in sports and football for sure in the South is that's king, man.
Hmm.
So that's one of those things. You got a son? He playing football? That's the first question they ask. So so grew up doing that. I always played up. I wanted to play like with my older brother, who was about 2 years older than me. So played up with him, um, and then ended up going or moving from Mississippi to Louisiana for my last, 2 3 years of high school. Graduated from there. Ended up going JUCO. Went to Gulf Coast. The jersey in the back, love it.
Yep.
And but the funny thing was, I had signed coming out of high school. I had signed with Arkansas State, and just didn't take care of stuff in the classroom. Ended up having to and I honestly, I said I was gonna not play football anymore, but my godfather was he was a coach or a volunteer coach with PERT or Gulf Coast, and he was like, man, just come work out. So came to a workout and did well. And they offered me. And if you guys aren't familiar with with junior college, if you have an in-state school, so a Mississippi school, the guys that come from out of state, so Louisiana, Florida, Texas, that kind of stuff, they count against the roster as far as like how many people you can have. Like you can only have so many players from out of that state to play in a team. And so made it, and they offered me a scholarship to be an out of state guy, and took it. Had always played running back and linebacker, and then once I got to Perk, they moved me to D end, and I had no idea what I was doing. I'm like, getting a 3 point stance is crazy, and I had a coach, Coach Sab. I can't remember his. I don't know if it's Sabiani, but Coach Sab. He called me Rocket Feet, no technique. So, so it was like if I didn't beat you with a speed, that was it. Like you got me. Like I could, you could throw me around, push me past the quarterback, but it was rocket feet, no technique. So that was my freshman year, and then I had a change in staff. I ended up playing linebacker again my sophomore year. I did really well. All I made a couple of like national teams, was national player of the week a couple of times, and had some guys that came in to recruit that you really only see on TV, like the Floridas and Florida States, and even the Oregons that came in, and to me that was mind blowing. They didn't show up at my high school to see me play then, and even to come watch, like that's different. Like so got an offer from Oregon, went on a visit. And I went like not during the time like they were playing football. It was like in January. And then, just in empty stadium, going through, talking and standing at the 50-yard line in the middle of that And man, I got chills. I was like, yeah, this is home. And I just visited LSU probably 2 weeks before that. And, as a Louisiana guy, that's supposed to be the school.
Hmm.
But it just felt like Oregon was home. So committed there, played there for 2 years, played with some guys. One of my teammates, Haloti Nada, just got voted into the College Football Hall of Fame. I got a couple of teammates who are multiple Super Bowl winners. One of my best friends has 3 rings with the Patriots. Our quarterback has 2. Like so, we had a pretty good squad. I think my junior year we finished maybe 5th in the country, and I think my senior year we were I think top 10, like it's,
Mhm.
final rankings and that kind of thing. It was all conference and, did a bunch of stuff with that. Ended up playing with the Cowboys for a little bit, playing with the Jets. And, this is a long time ago. This is like when Brett Favre was playing with the Jets. So, most people don't remember that, but
Yeah,
yeah, it was around that time. And then, I played arena ball afterwards. Was thinking about going to Canada, and then I just got into coaching around that time when I finished. So it's probably like 2010, something like that, 2009. And so I've been coaching and training since then, dealing with like high school kids, dealing with college kids, just kind of giving back, but just like stuff that you would have done or thought you knew or wish you had known back then, kind of putting that stuff into play now. So I mean, actually in my office now, I'm coaching at a high school in Alexandria in Peabody, and so I'm sitting in my office now. But yeah, that's me, man.
that's Blair Phillips in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's ultimately that's the dream that we all had. We all wanted to
Yeah.
go whatever stepping stone it took. We wanted to go D1 of some sort, and then ultimately try to make the NFL. And for you to be able to achieve those goals in whatever capacity is
Right.
such a blessing, and it's amazing that we get the opportunity to share locker rooms with people and us be able to branch out through life and accomplish so many different things, but be able to still have that brotherhood and those memories
Right.
and be able to go back and pick up like things never even, time never passed.
Right.
So it's cool to obviously
Look.
hear those stories and immediately just start getting mental images and
Right. Right.
remember exactly where you were. I mean, hell, 20 years ago.
So look, I remember like coaches like growing up, man. I give my left leg if I could play one more down, and you know, I had a coach that said he remembered all of his teammates and didn't remember anybody in his English class. And I was like, hey, he's crazy, man. Like he's just talking. But here years later, that is true because it is. You go to battle with those guys. There are certain things that you put yourselves through that the normal people like no normal everyday people could not go through.
Yep.
And so it is. It grows bonds, and it is. You can talk to them every day. You can talk to them every year. You can talk to them every couple of years. But there's a bond that's built through that kind of thing that it just doesn't change, man.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
absolutely. So when you got to Gulf Coast, was Coach Campbell making that transition in your
Yeah,
sophomore year?
yeah, he was. We had a Coach Lee was my first coach, um, and he was a character. He was a really good coach. Like he got the job. He was at Moss Point, and I want to say he left and went to Starkville afterwards. But he was like a state champion coach. Like he had won like a lot. But he was funny. Like he used to rhyme a lot. And like I don't, yeah. So he'd be like, hey Blair with the long hair, how you doing, man? Like, yeah, so he was a good coach, man, good guy. His son played on our team. Willie Lee was his son, and so that was our freshman year, and then he ended up leaving. I think he went to Starkville that year, and then Coach Campbell and Coach Davis and the rest of
Hmm.
those guys came in and from Delta State,
Yep.
and they kind of trying to change stuff around.
Definitely changing some things around. Y'all
Oh
laid the
yeah,
foundation for us, and then obviously we laid that foundation for those guys to win that national championship and stuff going forward. And now, I mean, Gulf Coast is a national powerhouse every year.
yeah.
So
They look the one thing that I remember Saban was talking about that was one of the places if he was recruiting he was going to go to Gulf Coast and find somebody, and it is like it's I took a kid there that I was coaching at the time for a workout, and I'm like, man, y'all don't lift under the stadium anymore. You have a new weight room.
yeah,
Like it's like they have come up. Like we were in the dungeon. We
yep.
were paint chipping off the walls, and now they got a glass building. I'm like, man, y'all soft, man. What are y'all doing?
I remember we used to play across the train tracks, like just
Yeah.
doing like intramural stuff,
Yep.
and we used to the little. It was almost like a little like mom and pop shop right there,
Yeah.
because the Walmart was just being built,
Yep.
and So just to see
Man, look,
to go through
the
like Perk and stuff now and see it all grown up, it's like,
yeah,
man,
look, I remember being excited. The Walmart was coming through, and they had built a Wendy's. It was
yep,
like a Wendy's.
right in
Oh
front
my
of it. Like,
god! Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. So obviously we could talk glory days all day.
Yeah.
So what's that transition like when you get to Eugene? What's that transition like to you're in the Pac-12 now? You're loaded with teammates that are talented. I mean, if
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, Dennis Dixon was quarterback, right? Or
yeah,
one
yeah,
one of the quarterbacks because y'all had studs.
yeah.
Jonathan Stewart, those type guys were coming through. Like, is that the same time year or is that?
Yeah. So my when I first got there, Kellen Clemens was a starting quarterback. He ended up
Yep.
getting hurt, and Brady Leaf, who was Ryan Leaf's younger brother, him and Dennis kind of rotated back and forth, like they were kind of nobody really separated themselves at the time, and then Ryan is Brady was a really good quarterback. There was really good stuff he could do, and then Dennis was a little bit more athletic. So it was different stuff. Like as far as like the RPO stuff that people do now, he was kind of on the forefront of being able to do that as a quarterback. And so we had him. Jay Stu was a freshman when I transferred out, so we got there around the same time. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm 18." And he's looking like he's 27 years old,
Yeah.
like
Grown man.
like yeah, he's 230 coming out of high school. I'm like, man, we used to call him Balco, little Balco baby, like because he was. It's just like it didn't make sense to be built like that at that age, And he went on to play with the Carolina Panthers for a long time. I want to say he's either their leading rusher, maybe second leading rusher all time.
Hmm.
And we had a couple of tight ends. Dante Rosario, he played in the league for a while. Ed Dixon, one of my friends, Patrick Chung played for the Patriots for a
Yep.
long time. So we had a bunch of guys. I think our whole secondary from my senior year, um, Jarris Bird led the NFL in interceptions one year with the Bills. Walter Thurman played with the Seahawks during the what is it? What was that? What was the name for their secondary? Legion of Doom. That's what
Hmm.
it was. He was a corner for them. Then um, T.J. Ward played for the Broncos, the no-fly zone when they beat Cam Newton and them in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So we did, man. We were super talented, bro. Like it was crazy. Like you see, or you always hear the percentages of people who make it and don't. Like I've played in high school and junior high with guys. Like my junior high quarterback was a starting point guard with LeBron in Cleveland with the Cavaliers. So
Wow.
I've been around a lot of talent and people who have made it. So it is, man. It's funny, being back into it on this side of it and explaining things and kind of getting kids to understand, hey, it's possible, but this is what you have to do. So we had a lot of talented guys around that time, man. It
Yep.
was
And
a lot of talented guys.
I'm definitely going to give you your flowers because you earned every bit of that and you were a part of that. So like we can talk to the other
Appreciate it,
guys, but
man.
you got
Yeah,
yours as well. So
I appreciate that, man. Yeah.
absolutely.
Hey, the text
Um,
in the mail for saying something good about me, bro. I appreciate that.
um, so and y'all and so nowadays, obviously, Oregon is a powerhouse now. Back
Yeah,
then, Oregon was just starting to get its footing and
right,
really get into the conversation of because I mean, back when we played, the Pac-12 was dominated by USC.
right.
Um,
Yeah, yep, yep,
so USC and then Washington kind of peaked for just like a 1 or 2 years and they fell back
yeah,
off. But like Oregon really started laying those ground roots
yeah,
of recruiting and back then recruiting was what kind of jerseys, what kind of
right,
field, maybe the
right,
facilities. It had nothing to do with money, obviously. So
right.
that's what people either wanted to go to Boise State because they blue turf. They want to go
Yeah,
to Oregon
yeah.
because obviously
The
you have the
uniforms, yeah,
jersey plethora
yeah, yeah.
or it's the recruiting. I wish I could have got that opportunity to feel that type of recruiting um, from those type of schools because it would have been amazing just to just soak it all
Man,
in.
look. So I'll tell you this: the coolest part of being recruited by Oregon, they used to have like a comic book series, and it would be based on like the player. So mine was like Mr. LB, and then like every week they would send like a different like a new addition to the comic book. And like once they finished, like, end of the year and it was time for like, signing day, like you would have a whole comic book. But it
That's
was like,
awesome.
man, it was insane, bro. Like, and that's, 2005. Like I can just imagine what it is now.
Oh yeah.
And so it was Mr. LB, and they, every week it was like, Mr. LB does this, and it's like a game changing play. But they had somebody who would draw up, these different sketches and that kind of stuff. But you put it all together and it would be a comic book. And I was like, man, this is awesome. Like
That
this, no,
that
like
is
what is
awesome.
this here? This is way different than hey, dear student athlete. I was like, they might be serious. They might be serious. So was it?
Speaking of game changing plays, I mean, we have to talk about Oklahoma game.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
people say obviously this is not what defines you, but I
Right,
guarantee if people Google Blair Phillips, it's gonna pop up, especially on
right.
YouTube. What like bring me back to that moment? It's a bowl game. It's
Yeah,
I mean, you're like you said, y'all are a top 10 team,
yeah.
and you
So
just you just get the moment of blocking the kick to win the game and just rush of field. Was it Austin Field still back then? Was the names
yeah,
changed?
it was
So
still awesome. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, for that field just to be swarmed by fans and you just made that play to win it, I can only imagine what you were
Hey,
thinking.
so this is it's always been a funny story. So we, close game. One of the guys that played, no, we had two. I think around that time it was two. We had two guys that played for Oklahoma that are from Alexandria, and that's where I live, and now and all that. And that's when we moved from Mississippi. We moved to Alexandria, Louisiana, and so we had a guy that came from the same high school. He was a set linebacker in high school, ended up playing safety for Oklahoma, and the other kid played running back, Chris Brown and Nick Harris. And so, the whole week, like, we kind of talked back and forth. We had friends, and so it's like, and the game was on national TV.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick made like a couple of plays in the game early. I don't know if it was, I can't remember if it was an interception. I know he broke a pass up and made a few like tackles like on third down, like crucial plays, and he was young, and so it was like, yeah, it's good for him, that kind of thing. And then the running back didn't really play. I think he was redshirting that year, and so it was like just back and forth. Like they Adrian Peterson was their running back
Yep.
for Oklahoma at the time, and so you know him from the NFL, but him in college is the same thing, just
Mm-hmm.
different color
Yep.
jersey. Like he was always an animal. And so, we did well against them in the run early on. Started popping stuff later. That's just it's Adrian Peterson.
Yep.
And so they had a couple of guys who played in the league too. One of the guys played for the Minnesota Vikings for a while, and then a couple of those guys played offensive line in the league. I can't remember where some of those guys went, but a lot of those guys on the offense were NFL guys too. So ended up getting close. It was tight the whole time, and came down to a kickoff. So we scored at a kickoff, and I remember being pissed off about the kickoff because they ran it back, further than they should have. And it's like, hey, we're trying to, save the game. There's no reason for, that kind of thing to happen. And so, ended up doing that, got some stops, got to fourth down, and they're getting ready to kick. And I remember going to the sideline, and, one of the Polynesian guys, one of the Tongan guys on the team, defensive lineman was really big, Matt, talked with him and we're like, hey, let's go middle push. And our special teams coach at the time, our field goal block team, was our D line coach, Coach Gray. And I was like, man, let's do middle push. Let's do middle push. And so everybody, kind of went with that. Stood behind him, push. And my little 6 inch vertical, I got my I got my hand up, and the ball hit my hand, and I was like, that wasn't enough. Like I know, like that just wasn't enough. And I just heard the crowd. The crowd went crazy.
For the win. Blocked by Oregon. To go. 3 minutes and 10 seconds later, Garrett Hartley's field goal try is stuffed in the middle of the defensive line by middle linebacker Blair Phillips.
So I just take off. I start running from like one end of the field to the other end, and I realized that my dad, it was the only game my dad was able to come to. And so I realized like my dad's in the stands. So I ran from one end zone to the other. I'm like pushing people out of the way, like dodging people because they're celebrating, trying to grab you and all that. And so I get to where like he's coming down at the stands and he's like, just walking like he's like in Walmart or something. And I'm like, man,
No big deal.
bro, what's happening, man? And so he did. He came down, gave him a hug, and then went back onto the field and signed autographs and that kind of stuff. And but ended up like later on there was a Sports Illustrated picture that showed like the line of scrimmage and me getting my hand on the ball at the same time. And if you kind of zoom in, you can see my dad and he's in the background and he's just like like everybody else is celebrating, like people are going crazy, like mouths open, screaming. You could tell that they're all excited, and he was, and I was like, oh. Well, all right. He's like, yeah, I knew you were gonna do it. I was like,
That
oh my God.
that's what I was gonna
That's the
ask. He
bar you
probably just
set for
expected
me.
you to do it.
Yeah. That's the bar you set. I was like, okay, that's cool, man.
That's
So
awesome.
I still have that Sports Illustrated that with him. It's like a 2-page spread. And he's the only one in the picture with his arms folded. Like that was just supposed to happen.
Man.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like growing up, obviously certain players are um have a different mindset
Mhm.
whenever they're attacking their goals. Um, was the mindset for you? Was that something that dad and family maybe instilled in you? Was that something that you had to learn yourself? Because I feel like in a moment like that, like thinking about my dad, how he probably would have reacted. He's
Yeah.
sitting back thinking like, okay, this is all the hours and days of
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
hard work that we put in on the stupid, just little drills that what
Yeah.
we thought was stupid at the time.
Right.
He's just like, this is what it all comes down to, and he's going to perform. He's going to make the moment, and whether you would have
So
made the moment or not, in his head, he's like, yep,
yeah,
he's going to do it. Nothing
yeah.
but confidence for you. That's how my dad
Right.
would have been. Was it the same for you?
Yeah. So we did football stuff, of course, like playing in the front yard, backyard, neighborhood guys just throwing the ball around. We'd always have like on Thanksgiving, like in the neighborhood, we would have like a real game, and it'd be like I want to say the field was probably it's like a field behind somebody's house, and it was like probably about 60 yards, and like we're like tackling, and my dad's out there, and and other dads are out there, but it was like we were sitting up there playing tackle football, and so it was like when I was younger. I always wanted to play sports, and I always, it just seemed kind of easy at times, just like just kind of like being a big fast guy, and but like as far as like the mentality and how, that dog, we talk about that dog, like JUCO was really the thing, going to Gulf Coast,
For sure.
and because it was like when I went to in high school, if you're a good athlete, if you're good enough to play in college, high school seems easy, junior high seems easy, but once you get to, college or even a JUCO, even if you're not a D1 guy, it's different, man. And I remember playing with a guy who was like, he was probably 28, and yeah, crazy, yeah. So he was probably 28,
Just keep going.
and he had he'd decided that he was going to go back and just he had eligibility left, so he was going to go try and play. And he came out. He was like a personal trainer, bodybuilder type guy, and so he was definitely like the first guy on kickoff. He was a wedge buster, but he came out and played, and we had some guys that bounced back. We had a guy Tom Campbell who went to Auburn and and came back to before he could transfer. This is before like the transfer portal and all that,
Yep.
and so you would go D1, but you can go junior college to go somewhere else and be eligible. And so we played against a bunch of guys that were like, Florida State guys, Florida guys, Mississippi
Hmm.
State, Ole Miss guys. And it is like you think like as far as like, JUCO goes, it's like, 13th grade, or if it's like 14th grade, like it's just high school. But it's not, man. Like there are some really, really elite players, not just good players, but elite players who play in that. And once that happened, and I'm like, okay, we're the same size, we're the same speed, I got to find something else. I got to tap into my crazy. So it was like, once I got there, I kind of figured out, hey, this isn't all just like, flowers and roses. You gotta find something in you, bro.
Yeah, I second that because when I got there, it was a shell shock for me, especially playing quarterback because I watched three other quarterbacks that were either sophomores or incoming freshmen with me that were when I watched their arm talent and they're just like how smooth they were. I'm like, oh, like okay, they're better than me, but
Yeah,
I couldn't
yeah.
think like that. Like I'm like, okay,
Right,
we're all here
right.
together, so I had to
Hmm.
find like I had to be the architect to where what I learned the playbook better than them. I knew all the
Yeah,
adjustments. Like
yep,
I needed to be
yep.
like lights out what wherever their weaknesses were. So that way, whenever it came to decision time, coach had I wanted to make it to where he had no choice but play me.
Right,
So
right. Regardless of how many, it's and stars around that time wasn't a big thing. Like now you talk about like 4-star, 5-star, and that kind of thing. But it wasn't. It was even playing in an All-Star game. It's like cool, you played in an All-Star game,
yep.
but so what? So yeah, it was. I mean, we had a bunch of kids that came from Moss Point, and they were just coming off a state championship year. And so it was like, part of it is, just getting there and being like, man, let's just figure it out. And you're gonna have those days where it's like, do I really want to do this?
Hmm.
Like, should I, is football that fun? Like this isn't fun anymore,
It's
man.
not.
Yeah. So it is. That I think around that time is when I figured out, hey man, you got to tap into something. And then once you tap into it once or twice, it's just like you can kind of like plug and play. Like at that point in time, it's just like, hey, this is me now. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I've said it multiple times in the past that what Perk taught me, nothing else could have taught me going
Yep.
forward for life. Like even when it came to like working out, and I joke about it and I say I hate running nowadays because running was
Yeah.
always punishment. So to
Yeah.
me, I
Yep.
associate running with punishment. Like what I do wrong?
Yeah.
Why do I got to run? But like
Yeah.
running on that blue track, that baby blue track, that was
Oh my God,
it
bro.
was like we were running like we were track stars and
Yeah.
running 110s and conditioning tests and like you said working out under the gym under the stadium like it really calloused us up to whenever things got a little bit nicer it's like oh
Yeah.
like I can enjoy this a little bit
Right.
but
Right.
um when people think of Mississippi JUCOs like if we could put together like we ultimately I think we could put together a list of Hall of Famers per se,
Yeah.
maybe not NFL Hall of Famers, but Hall of Famers of college athletes.
Oh yeah, for
Um
sure. Yeah.
Easily just out of the state of Mississippi.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. Just out of that league. Man, I can't remember I can't remember the name of the league. Um yeah, I can't remember the name of the league that we were in at that time. But it was like we had guys, a couple guys who went to Memphis, a couple guys who went to, UAB. And
Yep.
you don't think a whole lot about UAB or that kind of thing, but it is they went on to have like really, really good careers.
Yep.
And it is like
I mean
I don't know, man.
even LeGarrette Blunt went to Oregon. He came out of East
Yep,
Mississippi. I
yep,
mean,
yep.
so just
Yeah,
studs.
yeah. Look, he's lucky because I used to give him crap all the time about you couldn't make it to Perk, so he went to East Mississippi.
Yeah.
But it was yeah, but it was Florida. Like I said, like a Florida guy, and it is like them recruiting out of state and getting to that national stage, man. It is different. Like JUCO ball is different, man. That is
Mhm.
something that will you know it's either it'll make you become a tax preparer, or you gonna tighten up and you gonna say, "Hey, this I'm playing football now."
Yep.
So it is, man. We had a couple guys who were like, "Yeah, this isn't for me," but it is. If it is for you, you will know for sure, and it'll get you right for whatever you're gonna have to deal with later on in life, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
100%. And then it
Yeah.
was just always more than football too, because our goal was to get out of there. So,
Yep.
making sure I mean, staying on top of classes, making sure we graduate early if we can, so we can
Yeah.
get to that spring semester
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all that. So it was, I
Yeah.
mean, I,
And coaches too, man. Coaches too, because coaches go in, and that's a stepping stone. No, I don't think anybody wants to be, that what is it, what is it, last chance you. And he's
yeah,
talking about, for lifers, and it is like there's a stigma as far as being involved in JUCO football as a player for a long time, or as a coach for a long time. So everybody's trying to find the next thing, and it is like that will let you know, man, right away. Like, hey, this is for me or not,
Yeah.
because everybody's trying to advance.
100%. And the coaches do make it out. The ones that I mean, a
Yeah,
guy that I play with at Bellhaven, Cameron Accord, he was going to coach Southwest, and then actually ended up coaching in the NFL. He's coaching in the NFL still. Coach Belichick actually picked him up to be a special teams assistant.
oh, that's crazy,
So he was
man.
with he was with Patriots, and then he was with the Giants, and then he just signed with the Packers.
So
So
look,
now
I
he's
so I got a story for that. So when I finished playing, started talking about like the GA stuff, and I'll get into coaching and figure this thing out. And I reached out to Oregon, and they were like, "All right, cool. We got a GA spot." And at that time, like I had my son, and I'm like, "Man, GA, you pay for school and grad school." It's like I need money. Like I got
mhm,
a kid, I need money. So it's like, no, I'm cool. And one of my old teammates ended up taking the job. So that was during the Chip Kelly era with Oregon.
yep.
So Chip leaves Oregon and he goes to the Eagles, and the guy that took that GA spot, he took with him to coach with the Eagles. So he's a special teams assistant coach with the Eagles. I think now I don't want to say he's a special teams coaching with the 49ers now. And I was like, oh my God, bro. If I had just been like, you know what?
Could have
I'll just
been.
do this for a year. Yeah. Yeah. So, but he is, man. Shout out to Matt Harper, man. That's my guy.
That's
But he
awesome.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
opportunities, and then just being able to network in the coaching
Right.
field is crucial.
Right. Right.
Um, so the Oregon family, obviously, once you're alumni, I feel like they're ones that always stay in. You always stay true to your colors. I'm sure they always probably reach out to you, or as far as like just staying connected with their alumni.
Yeah.
Um, when you look at how the program has grown over these years, I mean, outside of even just football, I mean, you've got the the basketball team that have been playing well. You got all the other
Right.
sports. Obviously, Sabrina Ionescu. Just the names that have come out outside of
Yeah.
football is awesome to see. I mean, and then obviously it's Track USA up there.
Man,
Um,
yes. Yes. Yeah,
so
so it is, man. Like even baseball. Baseball's gone pretty well. And
mhm,
they didn't even have a stadium around that time when I was there. But now there's a stadium. It's right next to the football field when they were building it. And but it's like it was always been track town. You have the Olympic trials that are there. You have like a lot of the Prefontaine meets that are there, and then basketball. They had a bunch of like McDonald's All Americans around the time, so they were always. I want to say like around that time they were kind of maybe a step ahead as far as like football and,
mhm,
and basketball. Um, the arena that they played in was really nice. And then we've come a long way since then. But yeah, it's really awesome to see, man, because it is like football is when it comes to school, that's the first sport that really kind of like sets the school year up, and then from there, you kind of roll into basketball and baseball, and that kind of stuff, even soccer, and so to see where it is now on a national scale and not just because I even man look when I signed there I had people who asked me what state Oregon was in. And I'm like, and even when I got out to Oregon, they were asking me, what city in New Orleans did I live in? Like they didn't realize, it's like this is city in Louisiana. Like everybody from Louisiana isn't from New Orleans,
yep,
but it was like a lot of people didn't know like where Oregon was. Couldn't point to it on the map. And then now it's like when you get an offer from Oregon, that solidifies your status as an elite athlete now or elite prospect.
yep,
And so it is. It's really cool, man, to be a part of that or to at least that lineage. And we got a saying. It's always once a duck, always a duck. And it is like we there's always alumni stuff that goes on. It'd be different. If I went to LSU, like being in Louisiana, it's a little bit harder to get to Oregon for all
yeah.
these different
It's
games.
way the hell up there.
Oh my God, man. So it is. It's been a while since I've been out there, but it is. It's just I always rep Ducks. like Saturdays on during football season. Like my kids that I coach, they always know, hey man, if Oregon doesn't win on the weekend, don't say nothing to them on Monday. Like so, and some of the kids, they be like, hey, how about them Ducks? I was like, all right, you running. so,
Yeah.
so it is, man. It's amazing to see them on the level that they are, and not it being about like uniforms or facilities. Like we have substance now. Like we're
Absolutely.
winning, like and we're playing defense.
Yeah.
Like, and that's one of those things. Like we've always been, explosive on offense and had skill guys, on the offensive side. But like we're, pitching shutouts. We're, 13 points, 10 points, 7 points, and so it is. It's been for me. I love it. I love seeing what's happening.
Absolutely. Yeah. I watched every Oregon game this year only because I mean, not that I did not, but I have a guy at the firehouse, Todd. He is a
Yeah,
diehard Oregon fan. And I mean, he's got green and yellow everything. And
yeah.
Todd, like he'd stay up. I'm like, we're gonna watch this game. He's like, I'm staying up. I'm like, well, if you're staying
Right.
up, I'm staying up.
Yeah, and it's the only problem, man, because the game will come on. It's 6 o'clock their time, and then it's 8 here, or it doesn't
Yeah.
end until 11 o'clock at night and all that. So,
You can't
so it
even
is
say
like it's.
Pac-12 after dark anymore because it's not even
Oh my God,
Pac-12.
man! I know. Like, how are you in the same conference as a Philadelphia or a Pennsylvania
I
team?
don't know.
Penn State, like that's crazy.
It makes no sense to me. But so nowadays, you're a coach, performance coach. Are you coaching all athletes? Is it a couple sports specific? Is it how's your facility operate? And is it like what age groups?
So I'm also coaching in high school. So I did with like the high school age guys, and yeah. But I train, man. Like I train athletes really for the most part. Like if you have a kid that's 6, 7 years old, they're not really training. Like they're more getting exercise, and it's something to kind of keep them busy and active.
Yeah, learning
But-
body awareness.
right, and I always say like it's learning to train, and that's the thing. So once you get like kids that are older, they run at 8, 9, 10, that around that age. But I do, man. If you bring me a kid that's 6 or 7 years old, then I'll take them. And I've had kids who are, getting ready for the draft. Some guys who've come back who are, in the league and coming back and hey, I'm around to see family, but I need some work. So from the time they can run around and say they want to play sports to the time they retiring from professional sports. I got a bunch of them. I do a lot with like more now, like the corrective side of things, like the movement, and not worrying about trying to put 400 pounds on your back and benching 300 pounds and that kind of thing. Like those days are. I mean, there's a place for it. You have to have a strength base, but for the most part, now it's about movement. Can you change directions? How healthy are you? I always heard that the best ability is availability.
Yep.
So as long as you can stay healthy, stay strong, and even coming back from an injury, correcting what caused the injury in the first place. I do a lot of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it doesn't matter the sport. I mean. The youngest I've ever had, like I said, probably about 6 or 7. Oldest is probably I had a lady who was about 70, and she had a stroke, but we were walking on gait, like how to walk mechanics. I had a guy who was probably about 63 that was just wanting to get his golf swing better. So it is. I do a lot with different age populations and that kind of stuff, man. I love it. And I started off just doing, hey, gotten cones and we got ladders and let's run. We got bands and that kind of stuff. But as you kind of get into coaching, I had a year where I had a bunch of kids who ended up suffering injuries, but like made them out for the year, like a knee injury or shoulder injury, that kind of thing. And it's like, man, you know, there's we have to get these kids to a place where they can compete, get their bodies ready to where they can move right. Then we're not having like these non-contact injuries and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And it kind of transitioned from what I thought it was going to be to what it needed to be. And I think, I mean, I love it, man. I can't lie to you. I love it.
That's awesome, and I know exactly what you mean um, from my strength and conditioning days and sports performance days. Of like, I literally had a collegiate coach come up to me and go like, "Hey, we need to be doing more XYZ, whatever." And I'm like, Coach, how many injuries does your team got right now? He goes,
Right,
Nobody. I said, That's the goal. Like, our
right,
goal is for you to stay healthy. And then when you
right.
get to championship time, if you have the most depth available, then we're going to be able to perform. And he goes, Well, I didn't think about it like that. I was like, Nobody gives a shit. Like, nobody gives a shit if you can, hang clean during in the end season. Like
Right.
we're doing it to maintenance the body. I don't care how much you can do. It's
Yeah.
how
You
well
you
you
said
move in it.
we're setting records in June, July, but the games that really matter, what I always heard that games to remember are played in November.
Yep.
So if you can play that long, then you're doing something right. But it is, man. I always thought the same thing. How much can you bench? How much can you squat? And so it's not necessarily that anymore. Like the game is more speed based and space based, and so it is. Like you got to be able to you know, really stay healthy. Just move right and stay healthy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Best ability is availability.
100%. Could you imagine coming up as an athlete nowadays with all the technology and knowledge
Oh my
that's out
God,
there?
bro!
Like,
Look. The kids that I train, they're like, "Man, you used to do this when you were in high school." I was like, "No, I had no idea this is like even a thing."
yeah,
We go to practice and lift weights, and then we'll throw the football around or work on our plays, whatever we had going on. But as far as like setting up, like lateral, like skiers and single leg squats and the rest of that, man, no, we
heck
had
no.
no idea. The camps, the rival camps, like never had anything like that,
No,
man.
I never, I went to one camp and it was Gulf Coast camp. It was Perks
Yeah,
camp, and that was
that
it.
was hey, that was mine too, right? That was mine too.
Well, and also nowadays, like, I mean, back then, obviously, money was an issue. Financially, we couldn't, mom and
Yeah,
dad couldn't afford these camps. But
right.
it would be awesome as a quarterback to go to a 7-on-7 camp with a team of players that you know. But
Yeah,
that's not realistic of how it was. Hell, back in the day, we were lucky if we knew somebody that could teach us proper sprinting mechanics
right,
and
right, right,
wall
right.
drills and stuff. So
Right. Yeah. It is, man. I always say that, man. Football is definitely more of a poor man's sport. Like, that's a game you're going to play when you're trying to make it out of something. When you got some sort of grind. If you got, some sort of thing like that. Baseball, you pay a bunch of money for that. Soccer, you can pay a bunch of money for that. But it's like football and football is different. So getting to those camps like early on, it's like, man, we'll figure it out. I'll get on tape, somebody will see it, and and now everything's done on Twitter or
yeah.
X. You want to call it X, but it is everything's done now. Like you put on highlight tapes and the rest of that. Like you don't really get a whole lot of handwritten letters anymore, or hey, do you have interest in the school? Those type of letters that come to the school. So it is, man. It's football's different. I know it's hard to get recruited in soccer, but the way football is, like it's getting close to that.
Yeah. It was awesome to walk into the locker room every day and see all the letters on the table of, whatever
Yeah.
school is one of those my
Yeah.
name. Like,
Yeah, right. I remember seeing him. I'm like, man, he got a letter from West Virginia. Oh man, that's crazy. Like, and it is like it does. It gives you something like kind of like shoot for and that kind of thing. It's like, man, I'm gonna get more letters than him. And I
yeah.
remember being like my freshman year. We had a quarterback who was in his sophomore year who was getting letters like Marshall, and I was like, Marshall, like the ones that's on
Yeah.
TV. Yeah, so it was, man. It is. It kind of sets you up like just it lets you know what's possible and what you need to get there. And but it's man, I love. I wish that was a thing now. Like
Yeah.
we just had letters on the table. It's like, hey, look what I got. The kids know, and and he did. You got some respect from that too, because it's like, oh, he's getting recruited by this. Like, yeah, I got to listen to him a little bit or follow what he's doing.
And God forbid if you felt like you were better than him. Oh
Like,
boy, that light a fire. Like, ain't no way
yeah.
he's getting recruited by that. I remember Dan Trail.
Oh my God, bro. Yes,
Dude, Dan
yes,
Trail was getting recruited by Oklahoma State before he went. And I never
yeah,
forget that, like, sometimes it was just that generic, typed out, whatever recruiting
yeah,
letter. He got a handwritten letter from the coach,
yeah,
but at the
yeah,
bottom, it showed Barry Sanders and then it showed Dan Trail. And it was like, you could be
yeah,
the next Barry Sanders. I was like, what
yeah.
the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So Trail was he was so my sophomore year he was a freshman, and he's from Georgia, and
Hmm.
my dad is from Georgia. So my dad figured out like it's a running, and my dad was a running back. So like I could have made like 30 tackles a game. What Drentrell do? How many yards did he have? I was like, come on, bro. Like what you got going on? So the funny thing is, it came down. So when I had signed the letter of intent for Oregon and for Oklahoma State. And so me and Dantrell would have been teammates, but I woke up
Man,
that morning, yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. We're going to Oregon, but it was like it was between Oregon and Oklahoma State. So when he went there, I loved it for him, and they used him. They used him well,
yeah, they
and
did.
he was special. Like he's a
He
special
really
running back,
was,
bro.
and he was so quiet and like just
Yep.
calm. I mean, he looked like Eddie Murphy, but when I
Yeah.
he we were suite mates, and you know how the dorms at Perk
Yeah.
where you had three little suites with a conjoining
Yeah.
bathroom, or whatever. And Dan Trail was just over there, and me and Marquise, who my roommate was, and we had such a good time.
Yeah, then Trevor, man, he was a good dude, man. But see, that's one thing I realized too. Like, I remember playing like video games, and like you could like make like the player's demeanor, and it would like make them either better or worse at their position, that kind of thing. And I remember like if you made the running back like a nice, like regular attitude having guy, like he was a better running back, and that's true. Like every running back that I've been around has been like a quiet, like really humble. But Dentrell was special. Like he was like just everything that you would want to do, he could do, and it was just like he just made it seem so easy,
He
and
really
that's what it
did.
was. Yeah, he did. He made it seem so easy, man.
Do you have like a moment or a story or something that made you pivot and that you feel more you're blessed that you're happy that that happened that way?
I think so. I guess later in my career, like towards the end, I remember getting invited to the Hula Bowl, and like the last game of my senior season, I ended up getting hurt. Like we were playing Oregon State, and ended up like having like a LCL and hamstring injury, and didn't finish the game. It's the only game in my entire career I've never been able to finish,
Mm,
and so it was my last one. Ended up getting to the combine, and got flagged like as far as like it hadn't healed well, that kind of thing. But during that time, we had a bowl game, played in a bowl game, and then right after that, the Hula Bowl, like before, it ends up coming up before like the combine, and so it's almost like it's like the Senior Bowl, and
okay.
so right, but the Hula Bowl is just played in Hawaii. And so, but I turned it down. Listened to my agent, and he was like, "Hey, man, just stay there, get healthy, and and we'll figure it out. Project as a third round guy." And so I had a Reebok endorsement already, and so I was like, "All right, cool." But that was one of those things because I didn't realize like now I understand the process of going to the Senior Bowl, going to the Hula Bowl. Like you're around NFL coaches, you're around NFL scouts. You start learning different things that will translate to the NFL as far as like defensive schemes and that kind of thing. And then they watch you practice and they see how you perform on a daily basis. Your energy levels, your motor,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. And I didn't realize at that point in time that was that important. Like or that I would be able to go out and compete and put my best foot forward. It just seemed like another All Star game. And I
Yeah.
remember going to the one they had a Mississippi JUCO All Star game, and I played in that. And like we're out there. We got food vouchers. They got guys who have signed and didn't sign who were still playing in the game. We were playing in like mesh like little league jerseys, and I was like,
I got it in
man.
the closet behind me. I know
Bro,
exactly
look,
what you're talking about.
I still have mine. It says All Star with the stars on the
It's
front.
navy blue.
Yeah. So ours was white. Ours was white and red, and so I still have that jersey. And but it's just like I just felt like it was gonna be one of those things because nobody came to watch that. It was just like
Hmm.
you played in the game and nobody cared about the damn game. Like it was just like, all right, cool. Who won, who didn't win, and then that was it. And so I thought the Hula Bowl was going to be something like that. But as I've been years removed from that and seeing how it's developed, that was one of those things that man I should have gone.
Mm.
And then for one, I've never been to Hawaii. Like, come on, bro. Like, you don't play in a Hawaii game. Like,
Oh,
so yeah, like so I did. That was one of those. But outside of that, man, like I think for the most part, as you get older and you understand the game more, like you kind of wish that you had that same intelligence or that same knowledge when you were able to physically do what you wanted to do. Now I know it, but I can't run like I used to. I'm not,
sure.
strong. So it is, those are one of those things that, that you wish that you could put back into yourself. But yeah, as far as like, one thing, hey, in my playing career, what I wish I would have done, I wish I would have played in that hula bowl.
Yeah.
I do. I wish I would have played in the hula bowl.
That's fun. Like me and my wife, we've never been to Hawaii either, but she jokes about she played basketball and
Yeah,
she was like, "Why didn't we go to Hawaii? Like, why did we the opportunity of our life to play college ball? Why would we not even
yeah.
just consider Hawaii?" Like, so yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Just the opportunities and the potential of what it could have been is
Was were you around? Was it? I want to say his name was CJ
CJ
Hawthorne.
Hawthorne. Yeah, I went to high
Yeah.
school with CJ.
Okay. So I
Yeah,
remember him going from Perk out to Hawaii and played a little
yeah.
bit.
Me and CJ
But that was around it.
played high school together, and then we played park together. And then he went to Hawaii with the Dreadheads.
Yeah, and
Him and
see, he
Cole
was like
Brennan.
yeah, and Colt. That was Colt Brennan. Hey, man, he was a savage, bro.
Yeah.
Colt Brennan. That was like right after Timmy Chang.
Yep.
Yeah, Timmy Chang. He throwing for 12,000 yards a season. It's like Jesus Christ, what are y'all doing out there?
I know. Uh, who was the Devon Best? I think
Yep,
it
I
was the
remember
other
him.
receiver that he ended up playing for
Yep,
Miami.
yep.
Dude, him and CJ were ruthless. Yeah, all four of those receivers were awesome. Yeah, that was a special time for athletics because I mean it was talent
I,
all around the country.
I remember Jay telling me, yeah, we got a receiver. He's about to go to Hawaii, and I was like, Hawaii. It's like, shut up, man. And come to find out, he did. He went to Hawaii, went out there and actually played and all that. And we had when I was in, I want to say New York. Um, Kaika, I want to say is his name, but he played in Hawaii. He was a D lineman, and I played with him in New York with the Jets. But he was just kind of talking about how it was the program and all that. But I was like, man, the Rainbow Warriors, bro. like we can't find a better nickname, a better mascot than that.
Yep.
So
So we haven't even touched on NFL stuff. So I mean, it's what is it? Okay, obviously going from Oregon, um, undrafted. Is that undrafted free
yeah,
agent? Is that right? Okay.
yeah,
So you get undrafted free agent selected and you go to Dallas. Is that correct?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what is that transition like going to, I mean, back then, I mean, it's still, the Cowboys still move numbers. They're just the team name still just carries a lot of weight to it.
Right.
When you're trying to make that 53-man roster, um, what's that environment like? What is it? Almost feel surreal to a moment, or is it like I belong here and I'm going to make this team?
Yeah, there were times it was like, man, what the hell am I doing here? Like there's no way. Like, cause I was on the team when Terrell Owens was there. We had a party, a Fourth of July party at Deion Sanders' house. Nate Newton would come in and come to the locker room every now and then. And just seeing those guys around. I remember being in high school, and there was it wasn't called Hometown Hero. There was some sort of like a thing, and Jay Novacek, who was like
Yep.
an older Dallas
I
tight
went to
end.
his football camp when I was younger.
Okay, yeah. See, so he came here, and I took pictures with him. I'm like a sophomore in high school, wearing my high school jersey, like the jersey's baggy still, like I haven't filled it out yet, and I had no idea, like as far as like I knew who he was because I saw him like on TV, but just being around that kind of stuff, it's it is like it'll you have a chance to get starstruck. I played with Tony Romo, um, and you have a chance to get starstruck. Like it's definitely where it's like, all right, I saw him on TV. Oh, look at that guy. He runs this. Like a bunch about individual guys. But like once the whistle blows and you get a call from your offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, and you got to go out and execute that play. Like it turns into football at that point in time. And I played, we played linebacker. So Marion Barber was
Yep.
the running back around that time, and Marion was amazing, man. He was like the toughest guy to tackle. Like the first guy's not gonna bring him down. Like he's gonna knock himself out trying to run you over. Like there was just like he's gonna get 3 yards every time he touches the ball. He's gonna get 3 yards. And so to practice against him, and I had a couple of plays like that, where I got the best of him, and it was just like, all right, man, I might be able to do this.
Yeah.
Like this might be for me. So it was. It's just the I guess the big thing between like as you get like level wise from high school to college to NFL, it's not necessarily like the physical talent. It's more so, you know, having that, but also the intellect and understanding what you're doing, why you're doing it, when you're supposed to do it. And it is like, and people like, processing stuff faster. So the
Hmm.
game's not faster, but just you doing your job better. That's what happens most time in the league. But it'll definitely be some days when you sit in your car and you're like, I'm gonna have to find something else to do, man. This ain't it. Like I gotta get on LinkedIn. Let me get on here, Facebook Marketplace and figure out a different job because this ain't it, man. But it is.
Yeah.
But once you make a couple of plays and you kind of get your feet under you, you figure out what you're doing, you stop swimming, up current and like swim with it. Like it is, it makes sense. And so I did. I had one of those, couple of those in training camp. I had we had a film session, and one of my coaches, Paul Pasqualani. He was at Syracuse for a while. I don't know where he is now, but I learned more from him in like a couple months than I did my whole time playing. And he was like, "Man, we love you. I just want you to run through somebody's face." And when he said that, I was like, you know what? You might be right, man. So it's just like that's when I realized I might be able to hang on. I might be able to do something here.
Well, and
So
it's
it was,
also
man.
it's tricky being a guy who's trying to make a team
Yeah,
in at that level because there's a fine line of being aggressive but not being too aggressive, and
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
understanding the speed of the game but not being out of control.
Right.
And
Learning how to practice. And that's
yes,
part of it. Because it is like, you want to make big plays and you want to but you got to take care of your teammates because your teammates aren't just guys you go to class with anymore. These are
mm-mm.
guys who are getting paid, 500,000, 700,000, $1 million for this, for the year. So it is. It's when I went to Dallas, they had just paid two of their they had a rookie that they drafted the year before, and they had paid like a vet early on, and that comes into play too. Like
Mm-hmm.
so hey, and what can you do? Can you do special teams? If you're not a base linebacker guy, can you run down on the kickoff? Can you cover a punt? Can you block on punts? Like what can you do? So it is. It's the dynamic. It definitely lets you know that it's a business at that point,
Yep.
because I've seen one of my guys, Abe Elam. He his son is playing, man, I want to say he was with the Vikings. But he went to Florida. His last name's Elam. He's a tall corner.
Okay.
And so anyway, so Abe ended up getting cut, and then he ended up getting signed by the Jets maybe like 2 3 days later. He ended up playing and starting for them for the next 4 years. So it is. It's about money. It's about opportunity. Like, but it is like there's a lot that goes into playing in the NFL. Like, man, there's a lot.
Yep. Because everybody's talented,
Yep.
everybody's the best of the best, and
Yep.
it's just about it's a good portion of it's just getting lucky and being
Yep.
seen by that one person who likes you and
Yep.
keeps giving you those opportunities. Because once you get those opportunities taken away, you're done. Like you said,
Yep.
it's a business.
Yep. Because you got to think, as hard as it was to get in for your first year, by the time you get out, so say you're out for a couple of months, or you're out for a year, like that same amount of people that were trying to get in that year or trying to still stay in, and then you have other guys that are trying to get in. Like that's the I would say like that's one of the only jobs where you could wake up that morning and go to sleep that night without that job, and then everybody in the country knows about it because it's written on ESPN or the newspaper or whatever else.
Yep.
But it is a different breed, man. It is a different level.
Yeah. I remember telling my mom, so she was unique. She thought I was better than everybody. Like, why
Yeah,
aren't you getting an opportunity? Why aren't you getting an invite to camp? Blah, 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 whatever.
right.
And I'm like, Mom, do you realize in the next 4 weeks, like preseason had just started, I was like, in the next 4 weeks, 900 guys are about to get cut and about to go sell insurance or do whatever. Like
Yep,
every year, 900 guys are not good enough. And she was
yep,
like, well, you're better than those 900 guys. I'm like, well, I
yeah.
appreciate the confidence, Mom, but
Yeah.
it's not real. It's not realistic.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Uh,
my mom's even now, she's I'm you never thought about going back? It's like, woman, I'm 40 years old. Like this ain't happening. What are you talking about? So
we
so it
uh,
is.
we had an indoor team here in Jackson a couple of years ago, and all the guys at the department were like, "You gonna try out?" I'm like, "Hell no." They're like, "You don't have to be athletic to be a quarterback in the arena." I'm like, "Nope, I'm not gonna even
Yeah,
consider
but I,
that."
but I have to get hit and get back up.
Yes,
Like
I
I'm
said,
not trying to do that 15 times during the game, and see I laugh about that too. It's like, man, if you can just like I playing running back and playing quarterback and that kind of thing. Like it's you get 20 carries, 30 carries. I could just imagine now falling down 30 times during the
mm-mm.
day and getting back up and being like, hey, let me continue my day. It's like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Oh man, good times. So I didn't realize we played in the indoor league the same year. We never played against each other, but when you were in the same end up being in the same conference as us, but I was just up on the the I guess it'd be the Northwest Division, whatever, because I was in Alaska in
Okay.
2010, and
Yeah.
then we folded and I went to Tri Cities.
Okay. Oh, Trice, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I was in Arkansas, and then the year after they moved from Arkansas to Texas. I can't remember what city in Texas, but they ended up moving there. And
wasn't San Angelo, was it?
no, it wasn't San Angelo. It was because we played against them. It was like South. It was South Texas, like not San Padre, but somewhere around there. And so man, Palani, Monsoon. Did you ever play with him? You know who that
Mm-mm.
is? So I remember he was in Tri Cities, and I had a guy who was a coach, Adam. I can't remember his last name, but I remember him recruiting me to come out there to
The
Tri
coach,
Cities.
talking about
Yeah.
Adam Shackelford,
Yes.
big fat guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was the
yeah,
head
that's
coach.
him. Look, he said, look, I
Co-
still have his. So I went to call a kid. His last name is Shackelford. I still have Adam's number in my contacts in my phone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Coach
Adam
Shackelford was
Shackelford.
our coach, and I used to joke around because he looked like Andy Reid. Like
Yeah,
he was a fatter Andy
yeah,
Reid,
yeah,
and he was
yeah.
he was an offensive genius.
Adam
He
Shackelford.
actually
Yep.
he actually coached Stockton's arena football team also, so
Okay.
he had that. But yeah, guys like Stephen Whitehead, who was at Tri
Yeah.
Cities, Houston Lillard was there, Damien's little brother or maybe older brother, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, we all played together. Yeah, there was. I enjoyed Tri Cities.
Yeah, that was because yeah, Seattle, Tacoma, like around that area. But yeah, I did. I had a teammate that was from that I played with at Oregon, Palani Monsoon. He's a big offensive lineman. They ended up playing in Tri Cities maybe a couple years later. But he did arena ball. I'm gonna say in San Jose for a little bit. But I do. He went up there. I can't remember what year it was, but he was out there for
Mm.
a little bit.
I played when I was in Alaska. I had Tui and I had Mika. Mika played D line. He played at Washington. Um, but yeah, it was good times. Did y'all play against Billings that year?
Yeah, man. Look, so we played them in the playoffs, and so we took a bus from Little Rock, Arkansas, to Billings, Montana.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, so
So was it
it was like
2000? Was it after the arena got hit by the tornado?
yeah, it had to be. So this was 2000. 2009, 2010, something like that.
Had to be 2010 because they won the championship 2010. They beat Sioux Falls.
Yep.
Because then I played in Amarillo in 2011.
Yeah. So I was done playing around that time.
But they
Did you
had
did you play with Toombs? Was Jamar still playing? Jamar Toombs?
the name sounds familiar, but I didn't play with them.
Okay.
They had a quarterback. He's oh god, what was his name? He's in the Hall of Fame for in IFL. Uh, little tiny guy. We talked about Dennis Dixon earlier. That's the only name that's popping in my head, and it's not him.
Did he end
God.
up playing AFL after a little
Yep.
bit? I know you're talking about. He played with Bardo, Danton Bardo. He played with
Chris Dixon.
yep, yep. I remember him. Yep,
He was
Chris
dude.
Dixon.
He was
Yeah,
good.
yeah, he was a savage, bro. Now, see, one of the guys that I played with in Arkansas, Tyler Knight. He was a linebacker. He played for Sioux Falls for a while. He was like the league MVP a couple of years and running. But I remember playing in Arkansas with him, and he ended up going to Sioux Falls and playing. But we took that. So it was a bus ride, but it was like a sleeper bus. So it had
Mm-hmm.
like bunk beds and stuff on there. And so the air broke, like the AC, and like we're riding, and it's however many guys,
That's
big
awful.
dudes. Oh my god! So we stopped and had to get gas. And I remember, I still got pictures, but everybody hopped out like the beer coolers, like the little room for the beer, and just standing there, shirtless, white beaters, like trying to dry off sweat. And it was. So we had to stop and like try to get it fixed. But yeah, we drove from Little Rock, Arkansas to Billings, Montana, and played in the game. We lost. But yeah, that was my arena, my indoor football league
Yeah.
story, man.
The last game of the year we played. So I was at Tri Cities at this time. The last game of the year we played in Billings. We
Yeah.
leave the game. No shit. 30 minutes later, a tornado hits the arena and tears it,
Oh my
destroys
god.
it. And
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
like, what in the world? And then the next week
Yeah.
we played in Billings for the first round of the playoffs in like a hotel convention center.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I still got pictures, man. I remember like, spatting myself, like
Yep.
taping my own cleats, having to figure out, we wore different jerseys, like whoever got the jersey first, the number first is what you wore. And but it was and eating food vouchers. Like you getting coupons to go to, Burger King or,
Pizza Hut or
Popeyes.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back when Pizza
Yeah.
Hut had a buffet.
Yeah. So you try to like sneak stuff off. But I remember like having meetings. We were in an apartment complex, and I remember having meetings at a different apartment complex, like in like the like little meeting room, and putting up film, watching film in there. But it was we played like it wasn't Nextel Arena, but it was like Alltel,
Mhm.
Alltel Arena. That's what it was in Little Rock.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
fun. People asked me why'd I stop. I was like, it's a fun thing. You get paid,
right.
a couple $100 for you get a
Every
win
game.
bonus, things like that.
Yeah.
You get paid to go work out or something. They're like, you got paid to
Yeah.
go work. I was like, yeah, I got $50 to go work out. Like,
Yeah. Right.
uh,
Man, we used to laugh about that. We made a song about living in it was like life in the IFL, and we made it. We made a song about it. I don't know. It might be in an email somewhere, but it was it's funny, man. I
that's
do. I loved I love that time because it's not necessarily like you miss like playing. It's like really the stuff that happens in the locker room. Stuff that happens on the way to practice or from practice. It's that kind of thing. So it was, man. That was a bunch of fun, bro.
it
Like it
was.
was.
It
Yeah.
was. I had a coach. So the coach we had. So when I was in Alaska, all of us were from the lower 48.
Yeah.
The coach was from Louisiana. He had coached at Lake Charles,
Yeah.
and brought most of his team up. He recruited some of us other guys from the South. So when we get to Alaska, there's just a bunch of dirty South kids just
Right.
causing havoc.
Freezing
Um,
their butts off.
yes,
Yeah.
having 22 hours of daylight, just
Yeah.
craziness.
Yeah.
So his name was Darnell Lee, and I'm
Okay.
telling you, he is a spitting image and acts the same way as Mike Tomlin. They are this. I'm telling you, they have to be the same person, just different. One's in the NFL, one's in the IFL.
Man, that
And
name sounds familiar, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Coach
Uh,
Lee was awesome.
yeah. It was older guy. Oh,
Yeah,
younger guy.
I mean, he was younger,
Yeah.
probably 40s
And see,
back
I
then.
remember when I first moved to Louisiana, there was a guy from Louisiana that was really good, at, like a high school kid. His name was Darnell Lee. So I wonder if that was him. That'd be crazy, man. Small
Might,
world.
yeah. So, but it was funny because we go up there. I had a guy that the other quarterback played at Alcorn, which I
Yeah.
didn't know at the time, Donald Carey, and me and DC were up there in Alaska, and we win the first game. So yeah, we're heading home from the game, and he goes, "We stopped by the gas station." He was like, "Y'all get off and get y'all drinks." And that was the first time I've seen like grown men like just getting beer and stuff after the game, or getting a
Right.
bottle of liquor and us
Yeah.
drinking on the bus headed to the after party or whatever
With the coaches.
with the coaches.
And yeah, yeah.
It was so weird.
It's like normally I'm supposed to be afraid of these guys. And they were playing like Tonk, Pity Pat, like different games. I mean, wait till after the game. I'm like, who is he talking to? He's like, you gonna play with us? I was like, the coach is gonna play with us?
Yeah.
I was like, I guess we all grown. Like, so it is. Like it's funny, man. It
That's an
is.
easy way to tell how the locker room vibes are is based off of the games, the card games and stuff that the team
Yeah.
does. Like
Yeah,
from
yeah.
like that's an easy tell if the team likes each other or not.
Right.
It is. Well, I appreciate you being willing and wanting to come put an episode together, and
Oh yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna have to get Jay on here.
Yeah, yeah, but that'd be dope, man. He'd be running around with behind his son, probably more than likely
Yeah, I'm
with,
gonna
with him.
get Jay and you on here together and just let y'all
Oh,
just.
bro, yeah. Hey, look. So the thing about that, like because I don't know if you got friends that were around, like when you were playing and all that, and they'll kind of tell you stories. And it's like, man, really? I said that? Or I did that? And Jay is like that. Like he would bring up stuff, and I'm like, but there's no way I did that. And he's like, yeah, man, you did. You don't remember that? It's
Yeah.
like, nah. I said, man, that's fucking psycho, wasn't I?
That people tell me stories, they'll recall your stories on here on the podcast, and I'm like, I don't remember that at
Yeah, right, right,
all.
right. I promise you, it's so much stuff. I had a coach. So I coached against a coach that was coaching when I was playing, and he told me a story about like made a tackle on their sideline, and he was like, I got up, and he was like, he said something to me, or somebody said something to me, and I was like, man, fuck you, man, call y'all, like, and I was like, I didn't do that. Like, that wasn't me. I'm a nice guy. I don't do
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, but he did, man. He had me dying. I was like, bro, I guess I was a psycho at some point in time.
We all had that little. We could flip that switch like Brian Dawkins and turn
Oh
into
man.
Wolverine.
Yeah, hey, look, the funny story about him, bro. I remember because we played in Philadelphia. My last preseason game when I was with the Jets, we played against the Eagles, and they had like Brian Dawkins like highlights going. He was on the sideline, and he was my favorite player, bro. Like, I love linebackers, but it was just something about how he played. And one of those guys was just talking about, he never cursed. Ray Lewis was kind of the same way. Ed Reed, like they never cursed. Like they were like leaders, but they never like they didn't have to say you and the rest of that. And but with him, uh, he was talking about him just making plays, like just knocking people out and like getting up and be like, "Thank you, Lord, praise Jesus." And I'm like, "Bro, what is
Knock
it?"
somebody out and be like,
I
hallelujah.
know. Bro, I just can imagine that. I'm folded up and I got somebody screaming, "Thank you, Jesus!" Like, come on, man. I gotta kill you after this, bro. Like, yeah, I got to.
That's like the quarterbacks, like Andrew Luck, and there's another one that's like every time they get hit, they'd be like, good hit,
Yeah, good hit,
thank you."
man.
I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, nice job, buddy.
what?
Yeah,
Like I
nah.
just smashed you, and you just good hit,
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah, no, that is not me, bro. Like, I'm gonna get up and push you, like he'll bite your ankle or something. But yeah, thank you, Jesus. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, he's a psycho. He
Yeah.
definitely is a psycho.
So, what school you at? You said down in Louisiana.
Peabody Magnet High School.
Okay.
Yeah, we are yeah, we're the war horses, man. So yeah, I wish I had. I don't have
So
yeah,
is that in Alexandria area?
yeah, it's in Alexandria. It's funny. So I don't know if you can see that. So that's our mascot.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is part of our what I put together for our defense. So giving them handouts and that kind of stuff.
That's
And now
awesome.
I realized like how why coaches got so pissed off. Like if they found like your playbook behind, or
Oh,
I gave you this handout, man, and you don't have it, bro. What are you doing? So yeah, I get it now, one thousand
it
percent.
used to piss me off when teammates would leave stuff behind or leave a playbook
Yeah,
behind because
yeah,
like we're gonna get smoked for this. Like coach
right,
is gonna smoke all of us and make an example out of you. But to me, I was always so paranoid to ever leave anything behind. And I don't know if that's just the way my dad raised me to, that attention to detail. And
yeah,
whenever an adult's speaking, you pay attention and you take everything almost as the gospel, especially a
right,
coach.
right.
And man, that's, yeah, I
Yeah,
used
that
to,
yeah, that thing is just I was always on that. I just let me not get yelled at. Let me do enough, like not just enough, but I'm gonna go crazy. So you can't fuss at me for anything, and I'm not gonna get in trouble. I always felt like even drug tests, like it'd be people smoking weed and all kind of stuff, and it's like, man, it'll be me standing by it. I'll get drug tested, and but I was always paranoid of all that kind of stuff, man.
yep,
So
same.
leaving anything behind, being around anybody that I knew smoked or that kind of thing, I was like, yeah, I ain't doing that. We're good.
The drug test at Park used to always crack me up because they would
Mm,
tell you ahead of time, hey, we got a drug
yeah,
test tomorrow or in 2 days or whatever. And the guys that would be doing wrong, freaking out, whatever. And I'll
yeah.
never forget all the different ways people would try to cheat a drug test. And
Oh my
then
god.
they realize the guy is literally going to watch you pee. And
Right.
he's going to stand
Yeah.
right next to you.
Yeah.
Just
So yeah, I heard from everything from drinking water with like bleach in it to having somebody else do it. But I remember being
non latex condoms with urine
non-latex
already in
kind
it.
of yeah, yep. And then but I remember in the league, so this was the first time. So I remember going when I was in Oregon, he would be in there, but he wouldn't like he just back to him and you pee and you're fine. But I never really got drug tested like that. And then so when I got to the league, it was we had mini camp or OTAs, and we had a break between OTAs and fall and preseason.
Mhm.
And so I remember I was here, and I got a call from my agent. He's like, "Hey, the guy's coming you got a piss test." So I'm like, "All right, cool." He's gonna come to the house. I'm like, all right, cool. He comes to the house. He goes in the bathroom with me in the house and stands there and watches me pee in
Yeah.
the house. I'm like, bro, this has got to be some sort of assault, man. like, what are we doing right now? But he did. He stood there, didn't turn his back, did nothing, and I'm like, all right. So but it was like to have somebody to have somebody in your house, in your bathroom with you, watching you pee. That is a different level, man. That
Yeah.
is that is one of those things. It's like, man, what the hell is going on, bro?
Take it to another level for sure.
Oh yeah,
And God forbid you failed a drug test and then you were on the list
oh
for
yeah,
and just
yeah.
man.
There's a whole bunch of bird watching.
Yep. You gotta have emergency contacts behind emergency contacts to make
Yeah,
sure you can get a
yeah,
hold of. And if you go travel somewhere, you gotta let them know where you're traveling because they might
yeah,
go find you there and go pee.
yeah.
Like,
And see, I was when I was in Dallas, we had a fall camp. People come in, like the Broncos came in, and this was when Brandon Marshall was playing for the Broncos, and I think he was on the list for some stuff or whatever he was doing, and they did follow him after off the field practice, to grab his pads, carry him in, and just go to the bathroom with him, and he's sitting there watching them pee.
yep.
But that was like every other day. They were there for a week. I want to say it happened probably like 3 times during that week. But it is, man. Once you get into that system, like that's that's wild. But for that to be your job,
Yeah, crazy.
you applied for that. Yeah, man, this is cool. This is what I want to do. Dad, what do you do for work? I watch guys pee. It's crazy, bro. Shout out to Jairus Foster, man. Yeah, shout out to Jairus Foster and Lil Hendrix, his son. And so and they got one coming.
Awesome.
Hayes. Yeah, so shout out to my guy. a mutual friend, one of my oldest friend for sure. So yeah, man, that's it, bro. We mentioned a bunch, talking about Dan Trail and a bunch of guys like I hadn't thought about in a long time, bro.
Yep. We're gonna end this episode like we do every episode. On shift change, our main goal: everybody goes home, everybody comes back. Be the reason somebody shows up to their next shift. This is shift change.